What is up, everybody? Spot of Nerd here. It is Sunday, day 39 out of 365, potentially. Still trying to figure out if I'm going to continue with this because I'm not going to lie to you. I would like a day off, and I completely understand now why this is a full time job. I've said this 1,000 times. It's a broken record. It's Spot of Nerd. It's what we do here. I'm going to jump on the bandwagon just like everybody else that has a channel right now that is trying to remain relevant, as they would say, or whatever you want to call it. So we got to talk about the obvious Super Bowl Sunday. And just wow. I have not watched a football game, American football, in quite some time, probably years. And I'm not saying, like, let's be very clear. I'm not a sports person. I'm not somebody who dives deep into it. I'll watch the World Cup, soccer, real football. Obviously that's this year, Sport England, blah blah blah. But American football, wow. Holy shit. Has it gone down so far in relation to it's pathetic, if you ask me, and we're gonna just we gotta talk about this. Obviously, we're gonna get politics involved because, of course, the halftime show, which, wow, just unbelievable. I can't even think of the words right now to describe the level of ass that halftime show was. But ultimately, even from the commercials to the new kickoff rule, I'm sorry, when did the NFL become so neutered? Seriously, I can't be the only one in this who thinks the NFL, the Super Bowl, everything in between. It has been emasculated, it has been neutered, it is nothing in comparison that is anywhere in defining quote unquote masculinity, which supposedly is supposed to be what football is about. I just there are so many things I would love, my brain, there's something wrong with me, and I'm fully aware of that you'd love to talk, that basically you have so many things up here that you'd love to get out, but you can't because you also got to be safe around what you say because you enjoy having a paycheck and health insurance. All I know is watching what I saw today. I didn't watch all of it. Sure, I stepped in once in a blue moon to see what was going on. And okay, Seattle won. Great. Glad that happened. Washington State, you're still a third world country in my eyes in relation to the fact that right now, most people won't even step outside because of the sheer level of human feces, excrement, diseases in relation to hypodermic needles everywhere, graffiti everywhere. The state is literally in a third world state. But football, right? And I've said this a few days ago when we were talking about the upcoming Super Bowl. It just boggles my mind that not only do we continue to promote and celebrate events like this, where people who are making tens of millions of dollars, and then at the same time, when you have a show, quote unquote show, because let's be honest, that's exactly what today was, you're given basically the middle finger in terms of a consumer. You do realize that, right? I have to give credit. I can't take full credit to this. Let me show you guys. I think Matt Walsh said it best. So let me pull up his thing real quick, just so you guys, I'm not misquoting him because I think he actually quoted it beautifully. Sorry, I actually had Trump's quote up, but I'm going to pull up his Matt Walsh's first. Da, 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 da. Oh, well. Anyway, he said something along the lines, I think I can pull it up maybe with X. Oh, it was just too good, you know what I mean? And I'm probably hyping this up at more than it has to be right now, but I still think it's good. Dun, 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 dun. Oh my god. Yeah, here we go. Okay, let me share this with you guys real quick. Hold on. Boom. Here we go. All right. Hold on one second. So he says, I mean, obviously he's been putting out a lot of quotes here, but let's see. I didn't watch the NFL's halftime show, but I've seen the clips here. Just an absolute disgrace and a massive middle finger to the fans. Wait, to the fans to have the entire show in Spanish. Football is an American sport. This is our culture, our pastime. I was expecting a disgusting spectacle, but it looks even worse than I thought. Absolutely correct. You know, I need to heart that because the next one, the follow-up from that was having the halftime show for your biggest game of the year in a language almost none of your lifelong fans can understand while waving the flags of countries that none of them are from is the biggest fuck you that I've ever seen a corporation give to its own consumers. And I have got to give him mad credit for that. I really think that is the best way you can describe this. Let's be honest, the NFL, I don't know what the fuck happened to you. And I'm talking about the corporation, the game itself, blah, 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 blah. As I've said, broken record. I'm not a sports person. I don't pretend to be. But going back to what I was mentioning in the beginning about there's this new kickoff rule, which I saw for the first time, where apparently you can't move. Like the players can't move until the ball is caught from the kicker. When did y'all turn it? And I'm gonna just say this without hopefully anything paycheck related wise. When did y'all turn into a bunch of skussies, shall we say? We'll just say skussies. When did you turn into a bunch of skussies? Because holy shit, not only are you wearing what a whole bunch of pads and a helmet, can't touch you until the ball's in your hands. What the actual when did okay, seriously, somebody put it in the comments who's somebody who is a sports person or whatever it is. When did y'all turn into a bunch of skussies? I like that. I'm gonna use that from now on because it's a safe. Please try to get me on a scussie, whatever the fuck a scussie is. Because that is what I saw. I saw a field of skussies. Isn't the NFL football, American football, supposed to be a contact fucking sport? Oh no, we can't. Not until the ball gets to his hands. What? I am that is it's laughably pathetic. If I was a professional football player, I would be embarrassed. Embarrassed to call yourself a football player. And yes, again, not being a sports person, I will say that because holy shit, you're getting paid tens of millions of dollars while the average consumer of your game is working 9 to 5, some of the most hardest jobs on the planet, the oil fields of Texas, crops in the North Carolinas, blah, 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 blah. And you might get hurt because somebody might touch you while you're catching a fucking ball. What a fucking bunch of skussies. My new favorite word. Jesus Christ. And it's Matt Walsh says it beautifully here. The NFL as a corporation, basically during that halftime show, gave you the greatest middle finger to your face. And you simply are just like, I remember Jim Brewer. I'll see if I can. Oh, you know what? We're going to end this video. I'll pull this up. Jim Brewer. I'll see if I can find it. Where he was going over the COVID vaccination aspect things and how like he's metaphorically telling, like, do you want to work? Show us your vaccine card. Do you want to go see a movie? Show us your vaccine card. And it's just like, the SeaWorld sea lions, please, over here, over here. That is literally how I am seeing the NFL right now. You getting these guys who literally can't be touched because they have to catch a ball first, making millions of dollars. But here's your consumers. It's fucking hilarious, but pathetic. It's a bunch of skussies. And I'm going to say that 1,000 times during this because, again, please try to get me on whatever the fuck a scussie is. I'm pretty sure you can put two and two together. So, speaking of which, of course, came the halftime show starring Bad Bunny. Now, again, I am not going to sit here and tell you that I know really anything about music, or to be quite honest with you, I'm not really the biggest fan of music in relation to like, sure, I listen to it, but I don't have it like, it's not something that I just obsess over. I obsess more over nerdy shit than I do music. I might listen to classical soundtracks. Obviously, I'll listen to the old school stuff, 90s, NSYNC, Backstreet Boys. I love that type of shit, and I'm not afraid to share that out loud. But just not a music person. So with Bad Bunny, all I know is he is somebody who hates this country, who hates everything about America, and yet is given a platform to basically once again encourage, as Matt Walsh put, said middle finger to your consumers to basically say, "Er, er, er." Like, am I the only one? I seriously need to know. Am I the only one? And I'm being sarcastic slash rhetorical because I know I'm not. Because the best part about this halftime show is TPUSA. If you weren't aware, which I'm sure if you're not on the conservative side, you were not aware of this, TPUSA decided to put on their own halftime show starring Chris Rock, obviously some other country stars out right now that you've probably never heard of. I encourage you to look them up, and I encourage you to go watch the actual live stream show that took place over the halftime show. It actually pulled 10 plus million people away from the halftime show. As in, people were so, I don't even know what the right word to use. They were so put off by the fact that this Bad Bunny musician was going to be doing the halftime show that everybody literally turned their television to something else in relation to where TPUSA was, so they didn't have to watch that level of bullshit. And let's be quite frank, it was absolute bullshit. I've seen the clips, I've watched the videos. What the actual fuck? And again, I can't take credit for this. I'm just simply speaking on behalf of what I'm observing allegedly through social media. President Trump put it best. So let me see again if I can pull this up the best way I can. It's through Breitbart. But of course, again, I verified this, so let's see if I can make sure this gets through here. Dun, 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 dun. Let's share this. Okay. So it was saying here, obviously Trump posted on Truth Social, the Super Bowl halftime show is absolutely terrible, one of the worst ever. It makes no sense. It is a front to the greatness of America and doesn't represent our standards of success, creativity, or excellence. Facts. Nobody understands a word this guy is saying, and the dancing is disgusting, especially for young children that are watching from throughout the USA and all over the world. Which, let's be very clear, any other country, if you did what you were doing during that halftime show, you would be arrested for pedophilia. Let's be very clear and honest about that. He continues, this show is just a slap in the face to our country, which is setting new standards and records every day, including the best stock market, which just passed 15,000, by the way. You're welcome, which basically means your 401ks are going up. If you haven't looked at yours, I recommend it. Mine is absolutely blowing the fuck up. Thank you, Mr. Trump. I really do appreciate that. There is nothing inspirational about this mess of a halftime show, and watch, it will get great reviews from the fake news media, which it already is if you're online, because they haven't gotten a clue of what is going on in the real world. And by the way, the NFL should immediately replace its ridiculous new kickoff rule. There it is. Just to reiterate, you have a new kickoff rule that makes you look like a bunch of skussies. You have a halftime show that basically took a piss, metaphorically speaking, all over the American culture that is in support of the NFL. And then you have an audience who is literally screaming and shouting, "Yay, look at us, we won, blah, 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 blah." All the while, your own state is going to absolute shit in relation to the fact that it looks like a third world country in relation to the sheer amount of homeless, crime, and everything else in between, where there is now, by data, by facts, by science, more human excrement per square mile than almost San Francisco alone. That is what Seattle is right now. You can look this information up. It is not, I'm not pulling this out of my ass. You can find the data. There is more human excrement per square foot in this state now than we're like second to the first place in just behind San Francisco. But football. Let's admire these guys who wear giant pads and helmets, who have to wait, and then you can go after him. Oh, but if you touch him the wrong way, you're gonna get a penalty. When did y'all turn into a bunch of skussies? Skussies. So that's my 2 cents, and I'm pretty confident I'm not the only one. with this viewpoint because, again, what I saw today after not seeing any sort of football or NFL type stuff in the past few years, and I admit I'm not a sports person, but just to finalize, put my 2 cents on it. Broken record, spot of nerd is what we do. What I saw was an embarrassment. It was pathetic. It was laughable. And I give so much credit. I really jokes. I'm not joking with this. So much credit to TPUSA for basically sticking their own middle finger to the NFL by pulling 10 plus million people away from the viewership, which basically means dollars from advertisements, blah, 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 and sticking a middle finger to Bad Bunny in relation to the music. Because let's be quite frank, what the fuck were they thinking pulling him to that? Just go look. I mean, if you wanna look at something that's really cool, and I do actually admit this, go look in the past on YouTube from previous halftime shows. I've seen it through my own, like, feeds. Michael Jackson, when he did that, when, I think you had even, like, Justin Timberlake, blah, 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 like, there used to be some great halftime shows, and I admit, I watched them because it was cool, it was great, it was fun, it was entertaining. That's the my understanding is that's what the NFL is about, entertainment. What you're doing now is just continuing this woke ideology, political agenda bullshit. And yet you haven't picked up on the fact that people have moved on. And if anything, you're just embarrassing yourself at this point. I'm not alone. Let's be quite frank. This is just the reality of the world today. President Trump himself said it. They're going to praise everything that went on today and go like, "Oh my god, it was so great. It was so fantastic." No, it wasn't. It was pathetic. It was sad. But yet here we are, the average Joe, you and me, working our asses off, making barely enough, where these guys are living in mansions, and they there's a new rule that says you can't touch them because they might get hurt. Fuck off. Bunch of scussies. Scussy, scussy, scussy. So, I'll finish this up. I wanna just see if I can play this out. Let me see if I can find it real quick. I promise if I can't find it quick enough, I'll just end the stream, but this is such a worthy watch. Let me see if I can find this here. Entertain yourself for a minute. Let's see. How do you spell Jim Brewer? Yeah, there it is. Okay, Jim Brewer. And I guarantee if I put COVID vaccination, it'll be there. That's from Jim Brewer. Although, you know what though? I'm sure he probably wants this stuff to at least get. I'll play it. Well, I'm gonna get a copyright. Let's be quite frank. I'm gonna get a copyright, but you know what? It's just worth. All right. So again, you have to remember this was like right after COVID, blah blah blah, the COVID vaccination cards, yada yada yada. So let me go ahead, see if I can share this with you guys here. Trust me, this is not any representation of my opinion or like feeling. This is just entertainment from a comedian. That's all I'll say. And again, this is Jim Brewer. Go follow him. He's an amazing. You probably already know him. Half Baked, SNL. The dude's fantastic. All right, let's do this. I'll play some of it, and that way, of course, stop it. Blah blah blah. Because let's be honest, I'm gonna get a copyright strike on this somehow. But here we go.
Last 2 years is we don't know anything what's around the corner. You make all the plans you want, you get a bit of CEO, your jobs are shut down. We have no clue how quick life just goes bloop, which made me crazy how many people they would put on the screen and media are getting offended. Everyone was offended. I'm offended by this, and I'm offended by that, and I want to talk about this, and I want to talk about that. And if you're that person, listen, man, life is offensive, okay? My wife's been battling cancer for 12 years from food that she gets poisoned with that they feed us. That's offensive. We can't see the elderly because we may kill them, even though they got 6 days to live. We'll see you one day, Grandma. Stay behind the glass.
I feel much better with no human contact. Thank you, Dr. Fauci and CDC.
And fear. Thank you. I bet you she'd rather have that touch and hug and be dead tomorrow than do this the rest of her life. You don't get to pick and choose offensive. Last week, 2 Marines, hand to God, came to see me with their no knees, blown off, over in Afghanistan. Came in wheelchairs, followed me around. We laughed, they told their story. To me, that's offensive. But there's people literally walking around. Here's the thing with being offended. Listen.
Oh, wait, hold on. Okay, this is still good. I encourage you to watch this, but no, this was actually not what I was referring to. Hold on a second. Let me see if I can find this. It's just too hilarious not to show you guys. Let me see if I can. See if I can find this real quick. All right, I'm gonna see if I can play this one, and then I'll see if this is the right one. My apologies. Again, I'm terrible with doing this shit, but it'll be worth it, I promise. All right. It's the same special, by the way.
Wow. Well, thank you all for coming out and risking your lives.
Okay, yeah, this is it. I promise this is it.
There's still people going, you're not really going out in public indoors, are you? The Delta, the Omega, the Charlie Brown. Stay inside. This is never ending.
Oh my God, what do we do now?
This man is a genius. As far as comedy goes.
Holy crow. Poor old people would just stay in the basement. How long am I supposed to stay there? We'll come get you when it's safe. Yeah.
See if I can hold on. Let me see if I can fast forward this just for a minute, just so it gets to the best part.
Here's the top 3 lies you've probably heard about mushrooms from brands who've tried to scam you out of your cash. And
this is gonna be a Broadway play in 3 years.
He's talking about COVID.
You know what I mean? Like what?
6 foot safe. Social distance, 6 foot safe.
Five-foot danger.
6 foot safe.
5-foot danger.
If you're 6 foot safe,
I'm 5-foot danger. I'm coming to breathe on you. I'm the grandma killer. Listen to the rules. Here come the governors. Bump, 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 bump. We have no laws and regulations. We shall determine who is essential.
Now, you guys remember that, right? You know, basically Costco was essential, bars were essential, strip joints were essential, but you couldn't go to work because, yeah, that makes fucking sense.
We shall determine who may go at your house and who shall have a muffin. And remember, it's closed tube.
a 2-man.
Oh yeah, no, here you go.
And
Okay.
the parent.
We're gonna finish this off and I'll cut it out. But he basically, this is the, I was talking about the whole SeaWorld seals things. This is what I was referring to.
This is for your safety.
Six foot safe.
And then the news cockatoos come out.
Watch the news. Watch the news. Trust the experts. Trust the experts. Trust the science. Trust the science. CDC, CDC, Dr. Fauci, Dr. Fauci. Mask on, mask off, 2 shots, 1 shot, mask on, 2 masks. Comply, comply.
6 foot safe. Do what you are told. It is for your safety. I've never seen anything like this in my life. People want to fight and argue. You don't understand what's going on. Everyone knows a doctor. I know doctor.
God, it's so okay. I encourage you. It's a beautiful. You can watch it for free online right now through Jim Brewer's channel, website, blah 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 blah. But it just, again, I bring it up because it's reminiscent of exactly what Trump is saying in relation to the fact that the media is going to blow today up in relation to the fact that everything was incredible and positive and stop the hate and blah 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 blah. It's all bullshit. Everybody, at least the majority, hopefully at this point, is aware that it is complete and utter bullshit. And if you haven't figured it out yet, please look in the mirror and realize it is total and absolute bullshit. So I'm going to finish it up. This is getting on a little longer than I wanted, but it's me. It's Spot of Nerd. It's what we do. If you haven't already, I would love you guys so much. Hit that subscribe, follow, like, the whole 9 yards. I appreciate you guys watching or listening, if you're listening on the podcast. And we will see you guys day 40. Can you believe that? 40 fucking days. That's amazing. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Laters, y'all.